she's going to do the recognition of her retiree right before APCO starts. So if you want to mention yours and okay, why don't you do it during you're in Central Region, right?
Yeah.
Just add that yourself. Good job.
No, I think we're in Western actually.
Western.
Yeah. Right here. I'll just tell him he can just do it. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I also seen Crowley was talking to Monica this morning about the whole job, and she said she would let us know Monday. But I think she's good for a secretary.
Cool. Good morning. If everyone take their places, please. Find your seat. Again, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the North Carolina chapter of APCO and NENA meeting for the month of November. Welcome to everyone that's here. We're glad to be back together with everybody, see faces we hadn't saw in a long time and see a lot of new faces that we haven't seen before. We'll get started with one thing I need to mention to you. Even though Greensboro Guilford did do away with the mask, there is still a mask requirement inside a city building if you're up walking around. So if you're up walking around, you should be masked. If you're seated, that's fine. No mask. So we'll get started. If everyone is, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank y'all. As we get started, Melanie, welcome from your center, please.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to see everybody in person again, and I appreciate you all making the effort and the trip across the state to be here. We have several of our past presidents in attendance that will be recognized for our 60th anniversary today of APCO. Outside, the doors on the right are vending machines. If you need anything to drink or eat, restrooms are on the right. If anybody wants to see the 911 center after our meetings today, we'll be taking people over, so just let us know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. As I call the November 2021 meeting of North Carolina NENA to order. For those of y'all that know me, my name is Alan Kress. I'm your president for this year until May of North Carolina NENA. And glad to be here and glad to be part of the APCO celebration of their 60 years. See a lot of people that I've known throughout the years and two people here that I used to work for. So that's good. All right. As we go into the roll call for our North Carolina NENA board, Jason Compton is with us on the computer here. Jason, I got the mic there.
Good morning.
We have a little technical difficulties with audio, so we're having to do some adjustments with the mic. Ryan Chambers is our vice president, second vice president. Jameson Sears is our treasurer. Vic Williams, our Eastern Region rep. Corey Bodie in the Central, and Brian Drum in the Western. And Donna's here. Donna Wright's here with us for our North Carolina 911 board representation. And our immediate past president is Randy Beeman. All right, we'd like to do some recognitions. Our NENA Hall of Fame. Do we have anybody present with us here? NENA past presidents. EMPs. First time attendees. Very good. If you'll remain standing or raise your hand as Vic's walking around, we have a little pin for you. And want to make special recognition for November the 11th, which was Veterans Day. Do we have any veterans in the room with us? Any veterans? Thank you for your service. All right, we'll move on to approval of the minutes of our last meeting. Have a motion approved?
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Ryan, second?
Second.
Couple seconds there. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Treasurer's report from Jameson. Come up here, Jameson.
Anybody else? First time attending?
In our checking account, we have $10,902.55. In the money market account, we have $38,647.01 for a total of $49,549.56.
Thank you, Jameson. Eastern Region report, Vic.
Okay, from the east, make sure you can hear me okay. So Pender County, Jackie Ezell reports fully staffed. They have 4 in training and will be promoting a TC to shift supervisor in the coming weeks. The county commissioner approved 2 new TC positions and 1 shift supervisor for this year. They went live with the state-hosted EZNet on October 7th and text to 911 on October 8th. And they went live with the APTEC radio consoles in this week, actually. So I see Jackie's here. Good to see you, Jackie. That's a big dude for the week. The sheriff's office, this is kind of cool. The sheriff's office has started a new program that they call the Citizens Academy in Pender County. And each division of the sheriff's office has presentations and explanations to the citizens of the processes of the sheriff's office. The 911 center has the first night of the presentation that usually lasts about 3 hours. The citizens of the county are educated on how 911 center and the 911 system operates and all the processes the TCs do on a daily basis, training and certifications of each has to maintain. After the presentations, the citizens are taken into the center to see the TCs in action and tour the center. The program has been a very good program and has opened the eyes to the citizens and what the job pertains and how stressful the job can be. They've done it 4 academies so far, and the groups have increased in attendance each time. Jackie, thank you for presenting that. I think that's a great thing to bring forward that many of the centers might be able to use to help educate their citizens. So I would say reach out to Jackie if you got any questions on their new program there at the Pender County Sheriff's Office. Chowan County, Herman Wise reports fully staffed. Robeson County, EMD starts in December, and they have 3 full-time vacancies. And they received the 911 grant to replace their radio system at the backup center. Scotland County, Samantha Dutch reports 1 TC opening, shift supervisor opening, and part-time openings. Amanda David was promoted to shift supervisor at Scotland County. And my computer locked, there we go. So Lumberton Communications, Bill French reports as of last week, fully staffed. Way to go, Bill. Rocky, what'd you say? Rocky Mount Police Department, Alan Moore reports, go to the city website for the openings for TC positions and apply there. They'll be posting shortly. And they have an assistant communications manager position now in the center. Pitt County Communications reports, Jimmy Hodges reports that they are fully staffed. Does anybody else from the east have anything to present or to add? No, thank you.
All right, thank you, Vic. Corey, our Central Region report. That's fine. You go there, Clark.
Alright, Melanie Neal with Guilford Metro has 15 open positions in her center. She has 2 retirements coming up on November 30th. December 1st, the center will have 17 open positions. Alan Moore with Rocky Mountain is looking for.
already did that.
Oh, yep. Stephanie Chapman with Burlington Communications Center is still accepting applications for part-time shifts. Jacqueline Smythe was hired in October and has completed phase 1 of training. She has 3 full-time, 1 part-time positions in the hiring process. Looking to have them hired in December. Congratulations to Tiffany Fletcher and Marie Lloyd on completing the APCO training officer course. And Richard Allison was recently promoted to shift supervisor. Lily Dennett with Wake Forest was granted 2 extra part-time positions and filled those. They have 1 that is in the onboarding process and interviewing for the last open full-time position. Rebecca Bowles with Winston-Salem PD has 16 positions short. They're struggling to recruit qualified applicants. She will be retiring on November 30th with Marie Hicks being the new director. And she's been with Winston-Salem PD for 14 years. Rob Wilson with Davidson County is hiring experienced TCs as part-time staff. They started the testing phase for the new TCs Academy in December. Hiring 8 new trainees, bringing the total of 32 positions. Staff is continuing building out the new Motorola FlexCAD system. They will be going live in August of 2022. They hired a new radio technician and also a new sign technician after Mark Cormick retired after 18 years. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Corey. Brian Drum.
So first, so I don't forget it, Alan Kress reports congratulations to Lonnie Owens for his retirement coming November 30th. Some other reports, Amber Gleason from Hendersonville Police Department reports last month they moved into the new building. They're celebrating and enjoying their new and better equipment. They're also currently down 1 full-time position. Kyle Griffin with Stanley County reports that they would like to congratulate Monty Smith, Terry Lynn Smith, and Vicki Morton on their retirement, each of them serving 20 plus years. They also would like to welcome J.C. Holland as their new operations manager. Stanley will be hosting an EMD course at the first week of December. They are currently down 2 positions, and they're always looking for part-timers. Bill Gibbs from Lincoln is reporting that they're in the middle of a CAD project. Greg Foster from Alexander said they are 99% complete with their 911 center remodel. They have completed the transition to the state's EZNet hosted solution, and they have gone live on text to 911. They have just completed the Freedom CAD rollout to all their county fire departments, and they have 2 part-time positions that are open. See Greg for details on that. Johnny Horn from Charlotte Fire reports that City Council approved funding for major refurbishment of the alarm center. Work should begin in the latter part of the first quarter of 22, which will include new consoles, paint, furniture. It will require them to move to their backup center for a few months. Disaster Comms Week is December 13th through 17th. If you're interested, classes are in NC terms. There are currently 6 short and 2 starting in early December, and they just recently closed a process, and they'll begin their critical testing in the next few weeks. Stephanie Wiseman, like a lot of people, said she could just use some more staffing. Summer Andrews with Hickory Police Department, they're currently in the early stages of building a new CAD and RMS system. with go live to be approximately 18 months away. They're currently down 4 positions, and she described their levels within the department. So they have telecommunicator, senior telecommunicator, and lead. So you have room for advancement. Candy Miller with Iredell reports that they would like to congratulate their new QA person, Lynn Nicholson. She was promoted from a supervisor. There will be a sheriff standards class in February at the Mitchell Community College campus in Statesville. Dates can be found online, and also, if need be, they can be coordinated through their training coordinator, Jody Sherrill. Amberly Buff reports from McDowell County that they're in the early stages of updating their radio consoles and an old net clock. They are very appreciative of all the online EMD, EFD, and EPD classes, and they would like to recognize everyone that has given their time in pulling extra shifts to make sure that we have continuous operations in their 911 center. And like everybody else, they're accepting part-time applications. And that's all I've got.
Thank you, Brian. Good to hear from all the regions of what they have going on in their centers. It's bad to hear all the openings that we have, but unfortunately that seems to be public safety wide. All right, we'll move to Jason Compton. He'll have our membership report and our conference committee report.
All right, thank you, Alan. For the membership report, I changed at 781 members of North Carolina NENA. For our conference committee update, do have a little bit of news to share. Of course, we invite you to save the date and to join us at the 2022 North Carolina Public Safety Communications Conference, which is being hosted at the Wellington Convention Center, May 1st through May 4th of 2022. Please visit us at our conference website, www.nc911conference.com. You can find additional details there, and of course, that's where you can go to be directed for registration once all of those periods open. Vendor registration will open December 1st and run through April 1st. We are cutting off vendor registration a little early this year just to make sure that we have time to print signage and t-shirts and all of that good stuff. We will still sort of continue to accept any registrations that come in late from vendors, but that'll be the firm cutoff for making it into all the materials for the conference. So be on the lookout for that. Call for presentations will be open November 22nd and run through January the 9th. And attendee registration will open later in January, just as soon as we get the presentation sorted so you can have a schedule when you're registering. So be on the lookout for that. We certainly are welcoming presentations from all over. So please have that in mind. And if you know someone who's a great speaker or instructor, please reach out to them and let them know that will be coming soon so that hopefully we can have a great in-person return to our conference. Bouncing back to vendor sponsorships real quick, that is another thing that is currently posted on our website, nc911conference.com. So please head over to there and check out what the offerings will be for 2022. Commercial partners, if you have questions, please reach out to Jennifer Taylor or Vic Williams or Ryan Chambers. They can get you probably any additional info you need about the sponsorships. And again, that registration will open December the 1st. We are excited for the conference. It is returning to an in-person format for the first time since 2019. So, we're going to need volunteers for all sorts of things. All the things we used to ask for that we haven't the last couple of years, and in 2021 as we did a virtual conference. So if you'd like to get involved with either association, APCO or NENA, this is a great place to start. If you'd like to volunteer for the conference, of course, Gerald will be organizing those as we get closer in, but please go ahead and feel free to reach out to any APCO or NENA board member and they'll get you connected with the conference committee. There is plenty to do ahead of time, so you don't have to wait till May to get involved. And So I'll just pause in case anybody has any questions. I don't know how well anybody can hear me, if I need to repeat anything, but otherwise that's my report.
No questions, Jason. I think everybody can hear you very well. It's good. Thank you.
I can't hear you anymore, Alan.
Okay. All right. Ryan, on our EMP promotion.
All right, so EMP. As I visit centers, not only in North Carolina, it's still fairly shocking to people who.
You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. So the EMP certification is not just a test for directors and executive directors of a comm center. Anyone inside the PSAP can take the EMP exam. And for those of you who have never heard the kind of the certifications requirement, it only takes 3 years of experience, and then on a point scale of getting 10 points. Most people who have been in the job for at least 3 years can qualify for those initial 10 points. A lot of people are also scared away from the EMP because of the cost of the test. There are a lot of different scholarship options, vendors from inside North Carolina that I've offered to cover this for you. And it's also mind-blowing how many of those opportunities for funding of the test are unclaimed at the end of every year. So if you're concerned about the price, if you're concerned about study time, I'm going through the study myself. I'm actually currently in an EMP study group through Texas NENA and also using the Colorado NENA YouTube page. So there's a lot of great resources out there that can help you walk you through the testing for that. The testing dates are for 2022. For the winter 2022 is January 22nd through February the 5th. The test will be provided daily over those 2-week period. And the application deadline for that is December the 10th. That is the time frame that I plan on doing this. If you have not started studying, I would probably not rush yourself for that first session. It is a lot of stuff to read through. Just the study guide is probably about a 1/2 inch thick, and I'm going through it about the 4th or 5th time, even with assistance. Spring of 2022, April 2nd through April 16th, again, daily throughout those 2 weeks. Application deadline on that is March 4th, and then they're doing it in July 9th through the 23rd with the application deadline of June 10th. So I do think that the EMP certification, along with a lot of other higher level certifications, is something that I know a lot of other chapters across the country, Texas APCO and Texas NENA, really pushed their national certifications to encourage recruitment into the industry and also retention into the industry. And what people have found is that the more you educate and empower frontline telecommunicators to get a higher level certification, their tenured employee, the time that they spend in the seat or as a supervisor seems to be extended. So a lot of times as we're showing this, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're promoting them to promote themselves or encouraging them to promote themselves, a lot of times you're going to be able to retain them a little bit better. So any questions about EMP, reach out to me. If you need any assistance on getting the study guide or how to sign up for the test, I'll be happy to answer any questions or point you to enter sponsorships to be able to cover the fee for the test. Let's see.
Thank you, Ryan. We'll go to Vic Williams. He will have our national NENA update and also a commercial partners update.
Okay, Jennifer White with National NENA, our president, typically likes to join us and present, but she is in the air today, so she was unable to attend. So I told her I would wing it and do the best I could for her. So from National NENA, everybody mark your calendars. We're going to horse country in Kentucky, going to Louisville, June 11th through the 16th. There's going to be some fun tours. I'm not going to mention them specifically. Go on the website, start looking at what's coming up, but you're going to enjoy going to Louisville. So we'd love to see everybody there. And we'd love to see a large delegation from North Carolina. We had a decent sized delegation in Columbus this year, and it'll be nice to see another large delegation in Kentucky. The next gen Standards and Best Practice Conference is coming up real soon. I don't know if anybody's planning on attending. It's a great opportunity. I've been blessed to be able to present there once before. It's a fun event. A lot of good information can be. You can learn a lot of good stuff right there. This year it's going to be held in San Diego, January 17th through the 20th. And then another big one is 911 Goes to Washington. It's going to be February the 13th through the 16th. For those of you that haven't been to 911 Goes to Washington, it's one of the most moving events that I've ever been to. I think if you ever went, you'd want to go every year to be a part of such a great movement. So if you've been to 911 Goes to Washington, can you stand for just 1 second? As you see, we got a lot of people here that's been. A lot of cool things happen there. Fun stuff. We make a lot of stuff happen. And North Carolina usually has a very large delegation. We have our personal health coach will be there. So if we all come down with a bad cold, she'll be sure to make sure we have chicken and rice soup. So Pokey, I want you to go ahead and locate a place for this year in case we all get a bad cold. We all know where to go. So when she said she was going to find chicken and rice soup for the whole crowd, there were 10 out of 12 of us that were sick. I couldn't believe it. She did it. We're all sitting in downtown DC eating chicken and rice soup. So 911 Goes to Washington is close enough that we should be able to take a large delegation. This year, once again, I'm proud to say that Donna Wright's going to shoulder. I'm going to shoulder with Donna Wright, and we're going to try to carry the torch to set everything up, get everything prepared so everybody knows where your meetings are, where you have to be, and those kind of things. The big thing we do need to know, if you're planning on attending, please let Donna Wright or myself know as soon as possible, because we need to start working on a list, because we got a lot of representatives we've got to see while we're on the Hill, and we need to work everybody into a group so that we can make sure everybody gets seen and we get all our talking points out. The other thing we'll do, don't be nervous about it. We will take the time to look at who does a really good job at working with these when we go in these offices to speak, and partner you. If you're a new first timer, we'll partner you with somebody. So don't be nervous that you might get thrown in front of a congressman or congress-lady that you've never had to do that before. You'll have somebody with you that, and by the end of the 2 days, you'll be wanting to speak yourself because you're going to be so energized. So 911 Goes to Washington is a big deal. Go on the national website, National NENA, look at the link. Go ahead and reach out to your managers. I encourage, it'd be great to see 30 or 40 people there this year. So let's see here what else we've got. Some important links. Make sure you're using the NENA website. There's a lot of good information on the NENA website. Lots of groups you can join, working groups, things you can be a part of. Don't just be a member, be a working member. Get involved. We'll take it back to one of our past presidents, Dale Hall. Get involved. I mean, you've got to do it. Let's hear it. Can everybody say it? Get involved. I mean, you can't say it enough. And that's how we're going to change this industry. That's how we're going to make things better, is to get involved. So find something, get plugged in. We're here to help you, and we'd love to see more people involved with North Carolina and National NENA. Lots of good stuff coming down the National NENA pipe in the months to come. There'll be some information announced. It's going to be super exciting. So I encourage everybody to stay tuned for that. And as Ryan said, EMP certification. Gary Bell, who's a past president, every time I talk to Gary, says, "What happened? You made a challenge in Winston-Salem at a lunch table, and then it just kind of fell apart." I said, "Well, Gary, this thing called COVID happened, and then we just all kind of lost track of pushing the EMP stuff." So I'm gonna present that. Go back to what Ryan just said. I'm gonna present the challenge again. In North Carolina, let's break a record on the number of EMP certifications in this next coming year. And let's see if we can be the state with the most EMP certifications on the table this coming year. And you want me to do Jennifer stuff? Let's see. So Jennifer Taylor with SBFI was unable to attend this morning, and she asked me to relay her report. So from the commercial partners, we're excited to get the sponsorships for the conference opportunities released for 2022. As Jason just said, that's coming up 1st of December. Vendors, please pay attention to that. You can go on there now and start kind of getting an idea of which level of sponsorship you'd like to sign up for. And then once it's open in CVent, then you can go ahead and sign up. And we want as many as we can to join under the early bird format and information that the sponsorships are going to, when it goes out. Because we've got a large room to fill in Wilmington. It's a great opportunity to have a very large vendor delegation there so that we can support our PSAPs and make sure that we're providing all the resources they need to be able to run their centers. Horizon Consoles would like to say they're looking forward to a global virtual meeting to discuss future furniture trends for 911. They're going to have their engineers, designers, project managers all come together on a worldwide platform virtually to see how so you can all see how the different parts of the world are working in these 24/7 environments and collaborate between each other in this meeting to allow them to improve and to provide additional information to you guys. From Carolina Recording Systems, I'd like to say, we're right on the verge of an AIS upgrade with the state P25 network with the Viper system. So make sure you've got all of your stuff in place and ready for that when it's time for your AIS integration. Some of them have already started, and there's more to come in the next 45 days should complete all of those. Also, there's a handful left that are going to be going on the state EZNet. We're almost there, almost to the end of the road. I thought the staff would be jumping up and down. You're almost there. So Smokey's doing the dance back there. So we're almost to the end of the road with the state EZNet. If you're still slated to come on the EZNet, whether you use our recording platform or someone else's, you have to make sure you have your integrations to make sure you're ready to go on that. So you don't want to be at the 11th and a half hour going live next Wednesday and go, oh, I didn't know I needed that on my recorder. So reach out to me. I'll be glad to help you. Even if you work with a different vendor, I can point you in the right direction with the questions you need to ask to make sure you've got what you need. We just want to work as good partners with the state staff and the PSAP managers. We want to be good partners with all of you to ensure that we're getting these things up and going on a timely manner and we don't miss anything. So that's all I've got on the commercial partner report.
Thank you, Vic. We'll move to Amanda Winans for our SWIC report. Amanda.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, the slight echo. For the SWIC report, nothing new for the SWIC. We do have an incident tactical dispatcher / TERT class that still has seats available in December for Disaster Comms Week in Charlotte. That's going to be the week of December 13th. We will start to hold more INTD TERT classes next year. They won't be until after February, but I definitely want everyone to be on the lookout for that. And if you have anybody interested in the Charlotte Comms Week, again, December 13th, they are able to sign up via terms. And the last for this week is there anything that we can do for anybody? We're available, both Greg Hauser and I, anytime you can reach out to us, or if you have anything here, I can put it on the to-do list.
All right, thank you, Amanda. There's no other questions from anybody. All right, as we move on, Donna Wright for our 911 board legislative update.
Good morning, everyone, and it is so wonderful to see these smiling faces. I've missed them so much. It's nice to get back to some new level of normalcy. I was thinking about what Vic spoke about going to Washington. North Carolina 911 Board has worked with Gary Means. Hey, Gary, 20 days and counting till he's leaving us. But we have to take a minute and think about where we've come for the EZNet in North Carolina. I mean, just a short 20 years ago, it was just an idea that we wanted to push with no idea of what it looked like. And today, here it is. So North Carolina and Washington is important because we are Pokey, early innovators, early adopters. And I came up one day, and I don't remember which congressman it was. I said, imagine cutting a path in the forest with no lights and no direction, because that's what we did. We created a path. And this group of people need to be part of telling that story in Washington, because they're looking at our successes. They're looking at where our missteps were, because we are so far ahead of other states that don't have the resources like we have here. So having your voice there is really important, and showing you are the real people that use that end product that we talked about 20 years ago as a concept that's now our reality today. With that being said, the board is busy with many things. Got a new grant coming up, the first priority grant. There are some great things there that could be funded. Those grant applications are due February 15th of 2022. The board staff and the consultant is finishing up the draft of the North Carolina 911 state plan. This plan also will be emailed to the PSAP managers on Monday. You will have until the 30th of November to give comments, feedbacks, concerns about whatever you're reading in there. So this is your chance to voice what the path this plan creates, correlating with what the committee goals have been, to make shape and change things that either concern you or you think missed or you support. We need to hear that from you. Let's see, workshop for the 911 board and next 911 board meeting will be December 3rd in Sampson County. Committee goals will be discussed for each of our committees of where we're going. They're again tying into that state 911 plan. You can log on, folks. You need to be there. This is your board. Your voice comes through myself, Melanie Neal as your representatives, and others, to make sure that your needs are being met, your concerns are being addressed. So it starts with your conversation. Last thing I want to mention is GIS for your I-3. Everybody thinks, 100% people are engaged in this state. Great. We're moving forward. We've got a lot of I-3 PSAPs. But remember that GIS data is only as good as it is when you don't realize that you're not keeping a check and balance. We have got to be sure you're going back and looking at it, because you can drop from that I-3 back to I-3 ready because of a critical error you didn't even realize existed because you're not paying attention to the data. It's not a one and done. You've got to go back a couple of times a month, make sure that that data is where it needs to be to keep your I-3 capability. Otherwise, where you have those critical errors, those could be misroutes, and we don't want misroutes. But you've got to make sure at the end of the day, you're touching that data on a regular basis to make sure you keep your I-3 there. Other than that, that's mostly what we're doing at this point with the board. Anybody have any questions or concerns, feel free to ask me. Melanie will be glad to do anything we can. All right.
All right, thank you, Donna. That concludes our committee reports. Does anyone have any questions or anything in church so far? All right, thank you. We'll move into new business. Does anyone have any new business to bring up from the audience? All right, I'm going to turn to Ryan. We came with an exciting program yesterday while we had our board meeting, so I want him to speak to you about that.
So during our board meeting yesterday, we all agreed that after every chapter meeting, after every board meeting, every conference, every social media push, there's always people that are reaching out to us saying we want to get involved, and we don't necessarily give them anything to get involved in. So we want to start giving anyone who wants to get involved something to do. The reason we brought this method up with a NENA board work group gives you kind of like an unelected position on the board to assist us in any duties that we need you to help with. The reason I think this will be a great benefit is there's a lot of faces in this room 10, 12 years ago told me and challenged me to get involved, and I was like, okay, where do I start? And I have no idea. And if it wasn't for the people that kind of said, all right, go this way, and then I would get off course and they would redirect me back in the right direction and teach me about the boards and the benefits of APCO and NENA. It's led to a lot of why I'm where I'm at in my personal career. So anyone who wants to get involved, please reach out to anyone on the board. There is not going to be a full time commitment. It's just when things pop up, we will find something for you to do. It's also a great way to learn what each of us do on the executive board so we can help you prepare for hopefully future elections in the future. We have secretary, treasurer, region representatives, and also the multiple different president positions. So we've heard your request for wanting to get involved. We just now want to give you actually something to do so you can benefit from that personally. So if anyone has any questions about that or wants to join that North Carolina NENA board work group, please let me know. Some of you don't even know, but your name's already on my list. You'll find out after lunch. We went through yesterday, and anyone who has come to us in the past, we're going to be coming back to you and see if you're still interested. And we look forward to letting this list grow as long and as far as it can. So again, we mentioned the conference. It's a great way to start and get involved there in May, and we'll keep doing events and meetings and a lot of our virtual meetings throughout the year. So let me know if you have any questions.
All right, thank you, Ryan. So some exciting things going on with North Carolina NENA. If we don't reach out to you, if you want to be involved, please let us know. We'll be glad to show you what you can do for us, how you can help the state out and learn a lot too as you come along. All right, that concludes the North Carolina chapter of NENA. Grayson, you want to take a 15-minute break, get started at 11? Come back at 11 then? Okay, remind everybody for the mask requirement for when you're walking around, and looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, thank y'all. Have a great day and be careful going home.
Thanks, Amanda. I'll text you soon. Amanda is good and approved to be Turk coordinator on the board as well. Good. I warmed it up for you. You warmed it up for me? As long as you warmed it up for me, that's all I need. It didn't get any softer. Wilson. Monitoring the sergeant. He's supervisor. He's on the does he have the time to get involved? May. Oh, yeah. From the professional side, you guys approve him just being like on a group. You don't mind, I'm gonna give him a call. Let him know what we're looking for help in and if he's interested. Yep. Absolutely. Good deal. Good luck with, oh, you're gonna use,
Yeah, we don't have anything for it.
I'm about to say that other,
Well, I wonder how we turn that off. Without turning the microphone off. There you go.
how'd she put the screens up?
Wherever.
Doesn't matter.
And Melanie, do you know, is there a way to raise the screens without turning the microphone off? I can get.
I can get Chris to come in
Okay.
here.
So we can always black screen.
There's two in there. So one's on the right hand wall, one's, which one's not
We're
working.
streaming. We're streaming right now.
Okay, I'll let them know. Thank you. So everybody, at this time, I would like to introduce my boss, Assistant City Manager Nathaniel Davis, who will come up and do our welcome for the APCO meeting.
Thank you, Melanie. And good morning to everybody. I first want to say welcome to the city of Greensboro. If this is your first time here, we're very glad that you're here visiting with us. I have to say this, when Melanie invited me this morning, I thought I was coming to speak to a small group. So I was like, wow, this is a big group. But I just wanted to come and welcome everybody here. I'm really glad we're having this event here in Greensboro. If you need anything, please let us know. I hope that your stay is good. I hope you find good food or whatever else it may be. Melanie can help navigate and guide you. I just want to say thank you to you all for what you do and your efforts to make sure at its core that our communication is in place and operating. My career started in law enforcement in the early 90s. Is anybody from across the state, anybody close to Granville County, Durham County area? No? I grew up in Granville. Yeah, you put it up. Like.
She didn't want to get shot. We work 43 counties in Granville, one of the ones that we work Granville and Durham.
Okay, cool. Melanie, I promise I won't tell the long story. So my story about communications is I came up in a really small department in Creedmoor, North Carolina. And so I was baptized in fire. So when you work, you drew straws. So, and basically those straws are based on seniority. So the younger guys had to work inside and work dispatch. And so I grew a very early appreciation for what communicators do for law enforcement. But through my career, I grew an even greater appreciation because it's nothing like having a calming voice or someone who's navigating, providing you help, getting assistance, or just bringing order to a situation that's often chaos. And I think those are the things that people miss that our communicators provide, not just to our law enforcement and our first responders, but to community members. And so again, I am appreciative of what you all do and what you're doing here for the training. Melanie keeps me updated on the training and some of the tools that are provided through the organization. So again, thank you for being here. And Melanie, I promise I'll stop talking now. But welcome everybody.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Grayson Gustin. I'm the chapter president, North Carolina APCO. I will call this November 19th, 2021 chapter meeting to order. And take note that this is our first in-person chapter meeting since January of 2020. So it's been a while, so bear with us. We're trying to remember how all of this goes. Want to thank Guilford Metro again for hosting us today. A special day when we celebrate our 60th anniversary of our first chapter meeting, which was also held here in Greensboro. So we'll be talking more about that later in our meeting. Before we start, just have a few quick recognitions. Want to first recognize our corporate sponsors, Carolina Recording Systems, Horizon Consoles, and Motorola Solutions. So if we can give them a round of applause for their support. And next, we'll recognize any first-time attendees. If you will raise your hand, Greg has a special gift for first-time people. All right, and then while he's doing that, I'll quickly recognize our past North Carolina APCO chapter presidents. If you would stand, we'll do a more recognition later on in our meeting, but just want to recognize them now. Next, recognize any registered public safety leaders, RPLs. And lastly, recognize our certified public safety executives, or CPEs. And then any chapter life members that are with us, if you would please stand. All right, and a few more special introductions. Want to welcome Derek Forrest, the CEO of APCO International. We thank you for being with us today. And also David Dodd sitting beside him, the East Coast representative to the APCO Board of Directors. And then Pokey Harris and the entire 911 board staff. All right, and now I will turn it back over to Melanie to recognize a staff member who'll be retiring.
Thank you, Grace. And Tammy, if you'll come up here, please. I appreciate APCO letting me do this. Tammy is retiring November 30th after almost 31 years of service as a communicator. So Tammy has worked for the Greensboro 911 side of the house the entire time, and we consolidated in 2007. And the county employees moved to the city facilities. And I've known Tammy since that time, since 2007. Over the course of the last several years, since I was promoted operations manager and then director, Tammy's one of the people that I have called into my office several times and asked for advice, asked her opinion for something. And she was always honest, which is what I expect. You have to have those people that are not going to be yes people. They're going to tell you what you need to hear. And she's one of them. So I just wanted to take the time to recognize her today because 911 does not get enough recognition for what you do. And she's done it for 31 years. So I want to give her a round of applause.
All right, now I'll introduce our board members. Christine Moore, first vice president, has a back injury and is unable to be with us today. So if you will keep Christine in your prayers, I know she's been, I think it happened last weekend, so she's had a rough time. So just remember her. To my left is Herman Weiss, the second vice president. To his left, Ray Gilliland, our acting immediate past president. To my right, Frank Thomason, our executive council representative. Lori Laughlin, our chapter treasurer. Missy Ezel, chapter secretary. And Melanie Neal, our 911 board representative. And Gary Laughlin, we'll get to you in just a minute. And other board members present, Travis Essig, our public information officer. Also regional ambassadors, Marissa Walters, Chad Deese, somewhere. Okay. Samantha Dutch beside him, Shantae Griffith, and Greg Dotson. All right, so earlier this month, we were notified that Elton Wright, our commercial advisor, would be stepping down from that role. And today, I'm excited to announce that Gary Laughlin, the Chief Operating Officer from Carolina Recording Systems, has been newly appointed to that role. So with that, I'm going to ask our Executive Council, Frank Thomason and Gary, to come up here for the oath of office for Gary.
Good morning. Gary, would you raise your right hand for me, please? Gary, you've been duly appointed to the office in which you're about to enter by the President and Executive Board of the North Carolina chapter. By this appointment, the chapter would invest in you the power of the North Carolina chapter of APCO. It bestows upon you its confidence, trust, and places in your hands the duties of your office as written in the bylaws of the chapter. Do you, under God, country, and before these witnesses here assembled today, accept this power, responsibility, confidence, trust, and the establishment of duties, and solemnly swear to uphold, protect, and execute to the best of your abilities the aims and objectives of the Association of Public Safety Communication Officials International.
I do.
Congratulations, so be it. I now pronounce you duly established in your new office as commercial advisor.
Thank you.
All right, and welcome again, Gary. We're glad to have you with us. You bring a good background of knowledge. I think it'll be beneficial for our board going forward, so we appreciate it.
Thank you.
The meeting minutes from our September 17th chapter meeting have been posted on our website. Is there a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes? And Missy, are you good? Vic, yes. And second?
Second.
Herman, second. All right. We'll move into our committee reports, the first being the treasurer's report, and Lori Laughlin.
Good morning, everyone. In the main checking account, we have $565.67. In the symposium account, we have $212.19. The scholarship account has $1,307 in it. Money market account has $47,176.42 for a total of $49,261.28. The chapter accounts and the conference account was audited on November 17th, 2021. We audited years October 2019 through May 2021. There were no major problems found, and the committee has a few suggestions which will be included in the report in January. The audit committee this year consisted of Judy Caparelli, Herb Swain, Beth Smith, and Corianne Wassler. I just want to say thank you very much for all your hard work. They did a fantastic job.
All right, thank you, Lori. Next, I'll call on Frank Thomason for our executive council report. Okay. So moving on, our next will be Missy Ezell to share some more information about the conference committee. Just so everyone knows, Missy is the APCO co-chair to the conference committee. So I'll let you share a few remarks.
I'm just going to reiterate what Jason said. But we invite everybody to, one, register. Two, we'll need volunteers. So when that call gets pushed out, and it'll be on the webpage, be looking for that and contact anybody on our board, the NENA board, or the conference committee, and we can direct you in the right direction on who we can get you set up with and what group we can get you to help with. Any of you that teach, train, speak, looking at certain few friends, but I know a lot of you do. Call for papers will go out at the end of November, I believe next week, and it'll be open. And that'll be in the training report with the exact dates. But when the call for papers goes out, please submit your papers. And for the vendors, when that opens up, we welcome you to register. We thank you for your support, because you're not only supporting these groups, but you're supporting all the telecommunicators throughout the state. So thank you. And we look forward to seeing y'all in May.
Yes. All right, thank you, Missy. Our next report will be from the nominations committee, immediate past president Ray Gilliland, for an update on our upcoming election.
It seems like we just got done with the elections, but it's back around again. This year, we're a little bit of a head start. We're going to go ahead and announce that what positions we'll have open for the elections coming up in that March timeframe. There will be an email sent out to all membership beginning of January, opening nominations for second vice president, executive council representative, regional ambassadors for Region A, Region C, and Region E. So any interest between now and then, if you need any more information about responsibilities and requirements, you can go online at North Carolina APCO, go to the bylaws, go to the elections portion of that bylaws, and it gives you everything you need to know. Be looking for the email. The email will be out in January, as I said. It'll be open for approximately 1 month. When that closes, the election will probably begin in March, the month of March. And then the results will be read for the membership at the May conference. Thank you.
Okay, our next report is the Education Committee report. Gerald Anderson is in Florida this week. We feel sorry for her. But Herman Weiss is going to present on her behalf a few updates.
Good morning. So some upcoming training opportunities. Gerald said, note effective January 1st, 2021, all APCO classes offered by the chapter will now reflect a new rate. This rate increase is due to the increase of price of class books. All on-site training classes will require the following. All students will wear a mask. All students must submit to a temperature check, and all students will be arranged for social distancing. So class will have a strict attendance numbers. The North Carolina chapter of APCO is committed to offering training to our members and friends, and will closely follow all executive orders issued by our governor and any additional safety protocols as our state now battles a very contagious strand of COVID. We look forward to being able to offer more live training as the COVID numbers continue to improve in our great state. Calls for presentation for the 2022 North Carolina Public Safety Conference, which is May 1st through the 4th in Wilmington, will open Monday, November 22nd, and will close Sunday, January 9th at midnight. She said we will need presentations for line telecommunicators, technical industry updates, supervisor, and managerial topics. North Carolina APCO is pleased to announce the 2022 Telecommunicators Training Symposium, October 3rd through the 5th in 2022. The host site will be Embassy Suites in Greensboro. More to come January of 2022. North Carolina APCO will be offering a APCO supervisor course hosted by Onslow County, February 11th through the 13th of 2022. Pricing and registration information will be sent out via the listserv. Also, North Carolina APCO will be holding a CTO course, also hosted by Onslow, March 18th through the 20th of 2022. Now, you know I can't do this as good as Gerald, but I am going to try, as she does. Today is November 19th, 2021. You have 1 month and 12 days to finish your 2021 telecommunicators in-service training. This is a required for all TCs that work under the direction of a sheriff. It is also required for all staff hired on or before June 30th of the given year. If you do not have the classes in-house, you can get them online from Richmond Community College, Alamance, or the North Carolina Justice Academy. Instructors, remember you must successfully test out to teach. Also, if you are an instructor, do not forget to go to the North Carolina Justice Academy website and do your annual instructor update classes. This is how you will keep your general instructor certification. Note, if you have time for your North Carolina General Instructor certification to be renewed, you must complete the mandatory 1-hour training online through the Justice Academy training portal. This training is new each year, January 1st, and takes no time to complete. If you fail to do this every year, your general instructor certification will be revoked. You will no longer need to fill out the old forms and send them in to renew your certification. The classes for the 2022 telecommunicators in-service training has been released on the North Carolina Justice Academy website under commission courses. Then go to in-service training telecommunicator. The CD for the curriculum information is not yet available. It is our chapter's goal to continue to provide quality training for our members across the state at a cost-effective cost. We thank you for your support and efforts by attending trainings as we want to widen our efforts. That is all I have for training.
Okay, thank you, Herman. Our next report. Okay, so we'll move over to the 911 board report. I think Donna did a good job in the NENA meeting. So Herman, our next report is the Compassionate Care Committee report. Janet King is unable to be with us today, and Herman has her report as well.
Hello, good evening, or good morning, or again. All right, so short and sweet. She said that since the last time we talked, that she sent out 19 cards. Death in family or agencies, 13 cards. Thanking you to the agency, 1 card. Recovery from sickness or surgery, 3 cards. Retirement, 2 cards. Congratulations to George Casey of Rockingham County and Mark Cormick of Davidson County. She also said, as we approach Thanksgiving and Christmas season, please keep many of our fellow telecommunicators and public safety professional families in your prayers. That's all I have for the compassionate care.
All right, thank you, Herman. Here. Right, and now I'll share just a few updates from the president's role, some things that I've been involved in. First off, as of today, I'm happy to share that North Carolina APCO has 1,553 members. Just for comparison, last year, the same time, we were 1,533. So we are up 20 members from this same time last year. So I think that deserves a round of applause. And also on the note of membership, it is now membership renewal season. Most of you should have already received the information from APCO International to renew your membership. If not, you can reach out to their membership services and they'll be glad to help you. All memberships must renew by January 1st of 2022, just as a reminder. So over the past several months, I've worked with Pokey and several others in serving on the North Carolina 988 Coalition. For those who are not familiar with 988, and I wasn't until I got involved with this, it is the new designated 3-digit number for the suicide hotline. It is slated to go live July 16th of 2022, and it will have huge implications on how people will be able to access the suicide hotline for any type of mental health assistance. North Carolina APCO and North Carolina NENA have been actively engaged since the very beginning of this process and continue to work with them as they're preparing their grant for the FCC. So like I said, we continue to monitor this and are ensuring that the voice of 911 is part of this implementation process. I've also had the privilege to represent North Carolina APCO on the 2021 North Carolina State 911 Plan. This will replace the last plan, which was from 2018, and really focuses on many of the important upgrades from the next generation 911 standpoint. So working alongside with representatives on the committee, we were able to finalize the document last week, and I believe it got to staff this week, and then we'll go before the full 911 board on December 3rd. So that will be coming up there and hopefully will be approved then. So now the part everyone's been waiting for, we will transition into celebrating our 60th anniversary of our first chapter meeting that took place here in Greensboro, November of 1961. So first, I started my career in the 911 industry in 2002, and there's a few people in here that I have to thank or blame for why I'm here right now. Frank Thomason, Alan Kress, Rob Robinson. It's really Rob's fault. Back in 2007, Rob recommended me to run for regional representative. I did, and the rest is history. I served in that role for several years and then had the opportunity in 2017 to run for second vice president. When I signed up for that, I thought it was going to be a pretty easy deal. Never expected a pandemic to hit or to have 2 people on the board resign or anything else that's happened over the past year. But the past 20 months have just shown how resilient our 911 community truly is. So like I did say at our last chapter meeting, January of 2020, it was in Lumberton. Shortly thereafter, the pandemic took control, and we had to cancel our in-person March 2020 chapter meeting. but we're able to transition to conducting all virtual meetings for the remainder of the time, starting in, I guess, May of 2020. So that took a lot of work of the board and everyone to make that possible. So I'm just happy that we did show our resiliency and we're able to continue serving our membership. And that's what makes today so special, especially being our first meeting back in person since January of 2020. And we're also here to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the first ever chapter meeting that had 27 people at it. So with that, I will turn it over to Melanie Neal to share some opening remarks and some history from that first meeting.
Thank you, Grayson. So the North Carolina chapter of APCO began September the 18th of 1961. The founding members were Sanford Smith from the city of Greensboro, Buck Sloop from the North Carolina Highway Patrol, and Robert Franklin from the North Carolina Highway Patrol. So when we found out that we were going to be celebrating the 60th anniversary today, most of you may not know, but former Lieutenant Colonel Alan Melvin with Highway Patrol, he was here maybe a month ago, and I mentioned to him that we were having the meeting and we hadn't heard, from anybody from the Highway Patrol, but because they were so integral in starting the chapter, that we wanted them to be here. And Alan, if you know him, he's just such a great guy. So he goes, "Oh, let me reach out to Colonel Johnson. He'll show up." And I said, "Like the Colonel?" And he goes, Yeah. I said, "Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great." Well, as fate would have it, they're graduating a academy class today, and so Colonel Johnson couldn't be here. But I do want to recognize the lieutenant and Mark Nelms. Mark's the supervisor, who I found out yesterday is retiring. And so if you two will stand up, please. I do want to recognize the Highway Patrol because they were so important in getting this chapter. Thank you both for being here. The first chapter meeting for North Carolina was held on November the 14th of 1961, right here in Greensboro. As Grayson said, there were 27 members in attendance, and the chapter just jump-started that day. As most of you know, North Carolina's chapter of APCO is very active and always has been. We get a lot of referrals for programs that we do. People have asked about our compassionate care, and now at a national level, they're looking at it. We have a lot going on always, but that's what it's about, is outreach for the 911 community. National APCO President Joe Marshall, back in 1961, was in attendance at that very first chapter meeting, and we are very honored to have the executive director today with us as well on our 60th anniversary. The chapter charter was officially signed on August the 11th, 1962. So with that, I will let Grayson introduce our next guest.
All right, thank you, Melanie. Next, I will recognize our chapter historian, Randy Surratt. There he is. Just to share a few more remarks about the first meeting and inception of North Carolina APCO.
I was 6 years old when they held that meeting. David Dodd and Frank Thomason were beginning their careers
At Cleveland and Rowan counties. Those three gentlemen, from what I understand, I've got a lot of my information from Lynn Ford, who was the first lady president of North Carolina APCO. She also served as executive counsel for a while. Lynn also was the secretary treasurer and our first historian.
And also from Greensboro.
So she's also from Greensboro. She worked for the Greensboro Police Department. And so from what she told me, there was a lot of people involved that had that thought, but those three gentlemen really did the behind the scenes work and brought that meeting to Greensboro to see if there was interest. And like Melanie said, with the words and on our website, we have the history letter there. It tells it, but it went off. And I want to say, if those three gentlemen were with us today, I don't think they would be surprised that we're still here. I think that's what they intended.
but they would really be shocked by the technology in the industry today. I don't really have much more to say. I didn't really plan that much because there's other people that want to talk and all, but I did want to take this moment to, since we're in person, I hope it's okay. I want to thank the 2021 conference committee because they presented me with the first ever Steve Lomax Volunteer Award, and I wanted to thank everyone publicly for that. It's the second time in my career or my life that I've received an award for the first time, and I'm very proud of that. I was the first recipient of the Telecommunicator of the Year Award for High Point Communications in 2002. And I remember receiving that plaque, and my name is the first one on the perpetual plaque. I guess it's still hanging in the new comm center, Ellis, I guess. But I can remember when they presented it to me, I said, you know, years from now, they're going to look up at that first name and say, that guy's dead, isn't he? And now they actually tell me that they have so many since 2002, they actually look at it and say, when did that guy die? But now I know we're doing APCO, but I was looking through some things and I've actually found this, and I'll shout out to our sister organization, North Carolina NENA. This is my badge that I wore, right here in 1992 at my first NENA conference. And the registration for that conference was $30. So anyway, I'll leave you with this. I've got a lot of artifacts, old stuff back there. Feel free to look through it. It goes back many years. And you've heard me say this before. If you come across anything like this, it says APCO, North Carolina APCO. I'm interested. Find me and get it to me. I've got everything stored. I'm putting it in a catalog. Whoever follows behind me as the historian, they're going to have everything in order, and I'll be glad to pass it on, and it's going to be something to keep from now on. So thank y'all.
All right, so since the beginning, North Carolina APCO has been served by 60 chapter presidents. I'm now going to call on our second vice president, Herman Weiss, to recognize past chapter presidents who are with us today.
If I call your name, please stand. Mike Moody, 1997 to 1998. David Dodd, 2000 to 2001. Marcia Withrow, 2001 to 2002. Rob, go ahead. And 2008 to 2009 for Marcia. I was going to get to that. Rob Robinson, 2005 to 2006. Susan Waddell, 2006 to 2007. Marcia again from 2008 to 2009. Randy Wood, 2011 to 2012. Ray Gilliland, 2012 to 2013. Mr. Ellis Frazier from 2014 to 2015. And Miss Melanie Neal, 2017 to 2018. That is our past chapter presidents that are present with us today.
And I will add that Marcia is one of only two chapter presidents to serve 2 terms, if I'm not mistaken, you and Gerald Anderson being the other.
We weren't smart enough to
Keep coming back. So for those of you who are relatively new to APCO, or for those who have been a member for several years, never underestimate the benefits of being part of this organization, mainly in the networking connections that you can make, many of which turn into friends for life. I'll never forget back in 2015 at the conference at Sea Trail, this person I didn't know came up to me, it was Stephanie Connor, and asking questions about the RPL program that I had just completed. So I gave her some information, and from there, we've been friends since. Stephanie, when she was in a PSAP, she was a great resource for us. She would come help us with classes. We had one of our telecommunicators pass away. Stephanie and her staff were the first people there to help cover our comm center during the funeral. So it's my honor to recognize Stephanie Connors to share a few words as a second vice president for North Carolina APCO, and just to share some remarks on what APCO means to her. Yes, please.
Good morning, everyone. So I started my career, I always say this, a millisecond ago with Pokey. And here we are again, and I'm with Pokey. So I am very glad to be a member of North Carolina APCO and of APCO International. For those who are new members or are not members yet, it's a wonderful resource, and it's been a great opportunity for me. And so first, congratulations to North Carolina APCO for 60 years. That is a lot of time, a lot of great professionals that got us to this point. So thank you to everyone who has made this possible. So I am proud and grateful to be a member of North Carolina APCO, as I said. When I became a member in 2014, I really wasn't sure what it was all about yet, but I knew that it was a good networking opportunity. It was professionals. I wanted to go further with my career, so I thought this would be a good way to get involved and to learn, and it has been. So personally and professionally, APCO has been a big impact on my life. So personally, I have met and networked with a lot of really amazing professionals in North Carolina and across the state. A lot of those professionals have not only been great networking opportunities, but they have become very dear friends, shared rooms together when we really didn't know each other, but we got to know each other. And I'm pointing at Connie. From going to conferences, talking, I was at a National APCO, and somebody asked me where I was from, and I said Mount Airy, and they said, "Oh, you mean Mayberry? I go there." And they were from like Indiana, so you know. Sometimes you meet people and you don't realize they know where you're from. These personal and professional connections that I made wouldn't have been possible if I had not been a member of APCO, if I hadn't got into the organization. Professionally, well, from the NENA side, I wanted to receive the professional certification. So my EMP was my first. And then as becoming a member of APCO, I wanted to get my RPL and my CPE. So those were two that I were able to achieve because of North Carolina APCO. And they were at the top of my achievement list. And I learned to not get comfortable in the marshmallows and don't blow the opportunity. If y'all don't know Dr. Steve, I hope that you will get the opportunity to meet him one day, because that was a phenomenal opportunity for me. But I took that to heart, and I don't get comfortable in the marshmallows. I come out from that soft, safe place, take on things that I may have been scared to do, leaving a 20-year career to go to the board, which I love as well. So sometimes it's good to test yourself and to don't blow this opportunity. That was another thing that Dr. Steve said. Don't blow the opportunity that you're given. So I always keep that to heart too. I always give it my best with anything that I do. Dr. Steve is, again, if you don't know him, I hope you get the opportunity to meet him. He will change your life. As a previous board member, I got to be a part. That was the first board that I actually got to be a part of. So I got to learn what APCO does for the professionals in this industry and how they care for them and what they do, what they push to bring to them, training opportunities, networking opportunities, and beyond that. So as an APCO member, I have fostered a greater understanding of my profession. That's been through those networking connections, through the training I've taken, and just talking. There were times that I wouldn't understand something that was going on. So just having a conversation, asking questions, and then I could understand. So being a part of this organization has really helped to foster a better understanding. And after 22 years, I want to keep that going. I'm glad to be in the position I am now on 911 board staff. And as a continued as a member of North Carolina APCO. So I'm thankful again to everyone who's brought us here and thankful to this board that will keep things going for these professionals in the state. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. So it's now my great honor and privilege to introduce our next two guests. First, I'll call upon our, past North Carolina APCO president, past North Carolina APCO Executive Council representative, APCO International Board of Director, David Dodd, to share a few remarks, and then introduce our speaker, Derek Ports.
Thank you, Grayson. I want to start out by saying, reiterate what some others have said. Man, it's good to see these, be back in person and see these faces. I'm seeing a lot of faces from years past that I haven't seen in a long time. And man, it feels good. I hope y'all are as excited about it as I am. I started my career in 1976. Don't try to do the math, just take it for what it's worth. And in reflection, I realized that I was fortunate in that I got a more in-depth look at APCO and how it worked than a lot of people, because the year I started, my boss, I'm pretty sure he was elected second vice president. He was president in 1978 to 79, and our chief radio engineer followed him and was president from 79 to 80. So there was like a 5-year stretch that I got a pretty in-depth look at how the North Carolina APCO chapter operated, because two of the people I worked with were chapter officers and going through the chairs. So again, that was kind of a special thing, and it enabled me to understand at an early point in my career what resources, what benefits, what being involved in APCO could do for a career in public safety communications. I've also looked at the list of past presidents on our website, and again, because being involved at such an early point in my career, now if my math was right, there's 56 names there's 58 names on the list, but 2 names are on there twice, so there's really 56 names on the list. And I realized after looking at that list that I was familiar with or had interaction with 38 of them, which Randy would just say I'm old. That's the only reason. But and while I'm up here too, I do want to take a minute to recognize our current chapter president. Folks, he has, I don't know how he's done it. He's been, because of change in schedule, we've gone from meeting or conference in August or September to May. He's doing about a 2.5-year stint as chapter president. And who could have envisioned the struggles with making that change from fall to spring, the pandemic, and everything else that you've dealt with. And personally, I think you've done a heck of a job, and I commend you for it.
Thank you.
So that's really all I'm going to say. I've got, now I'm going to do what I was primarily asked to do. We're joined today by APCO International's Executive Director, Derek Ports. Derek is a North Carolina native, and as far as I know, you still pay some property taxes in Lenore. You're here some of the time. And amazingly, Derek has publicly acknowledged he and his wife's love of beach and shag music, and he has also admitted to actually listening to my radio show on a couple of occasions. And Derek, I promise I have not made any quotes or any kind of comments that can be directed back to you that I made that they thought it was you that said it. So please welcome our Executive Director, Derek Ports.
Good morning. David told on himself. He, in his spare time, he goes around and telling people that he's Derek Porch. And he got caught in San Antonio, but we've worked past that. David and Frank and Randy, I have given us, for our age group, a new name. And I prefer to say that we're seasoned. That's the name that I think is probably more appropriate to describe us. Let me start by thanking Grayson and Christine for inviting me to come spend some time with you today as you celebrate your 60th anniversary of your first meeting that was here in Greensboro. It's only taken me 10 years as the APCO Executive Director and CEO to get to one of your chapter meetings. And it's a real honor for me to be here today. We actually placed this event on my calendar during the early part of this year. And I said to Grayson and Christine, I'm gonna put it on in pencil. That don't mean a whole lot. And we're gonna see if we can get it to hold. I told them in San Antonio, it's still on hold and it's still there. So it really is an honor for me to get to be with what I consider my home chapter today. The lieutenant from the North Carolina Highway Patrol is Lieutenant Brent Morgan. It's kind of old home week around here for me today. Brent and I worked together a couple decades ago at Lenore Police Department. It was good to see him. And it's also good to see Crystal Lawrence, who's been a longtime member of the APCO team and is currently serving as my interim director of the CC9S department. So it's nice to see everybody there. I bring you greetings and congratulations on behalf of APCO International President Jason Kern, First Vice President Angela Bowen, Second Vice President Becky Nugent, and immediate past President Margie Mullen. Let me take just a second to congratulate both chapters for meeting together on a regular basis and for finding more commonalities than differences. You're to be commended. Where I have to spend a majority of my time inside the Beltway in Washington, D.C., they could learn a few lessons from the North Carolina Joint Chapter. So congratulations for that. While the state of North Carolina, first, I recognize that I'm standing between you and lunch. I get it. I won't mess you up, I promise. While the state of North Carolina is the 9th largest state in the United States, it is the 5th largest chapter of APCO International. Now, Grayson, mine and your numbers differ just a little bit. You said 1553. My membership department says 1547, so you need to reconcile your numbers. I prefer it to be 1553. You're only behind Atlantic, Florida, Illinois, and Virginia. Now, we're in a cone of silence. Here's the inside the ballpark information. Texas is only 5 behind you.
Good to know.
I think that's really important for you to know. Find 110 more members. You'll move to 4th place and pass Virginia. That's my challenge to North Carolina APCO today. But, you know, there's almost 3,000 telecommunicators. You pull 110 more. That's really, really impressive considering you had 27 members 60 years ago at the first meeting. Earlier, life members of APCO International were introduced. For those of you that aren't there yet, let me tell you, I'm a life member of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. I'm very proud of that, which is where I spent the majority of my career. Although, for those of you that don't know, when I was 18 years old and right out of high school, my very first job was as a dispatcher at Lenore Police Department, third shift. I'm really going to date myself. Punch button phones, 4 lines, 1 computer with a green screen, simplex punch cards. So all of you that remember all of that, you too are seasoned, by the way. But you've got 6 life members, and achieving life membership in APCO International is no easy feat. All you've got to really do to be a life member of the International Association of Chiefs of Police, you got to not get fired, you got to hang around a long time. For APCO International, there's this whole matrix and different categories and scoring. And as Randy knows, letters that's got to be sent and verification. So congratulations to the 6 of you that are life members. We have another category of APCO International senior members. They haven't been recognized today. Any senior members of APCO International here today? Ready to stand up so we can congratulate you? I mentioned the size of your chapter compared to the other chapters of APCO International. I want to talk just a couple minutes, maybe less, I promise, Grayson, about your representation and your prestige within APCO International. You have been well represented on APCO International governance bodies. Over the last 10 years, you've consistently been a member of those bodies, only succeeded by the Louisiana chapter and the Ohio chapter. You're now in your 5th consecutive year of having a chapter member on the APCO International Board of Directors. There are only 8 of those seats. There are only 2 of those seats from your region. I had the privilege of working for 4 years with one of the finest men in this industry that I know, and that's Frank Thomason. If you know Frank, you know he's a man of few and calculated words. But I can tell you over the course of 4 years, when Frank spoke in board meetings, everybody got quiet, everybody listened, and they usually followed his sage advice. I'm now, and I understand Frank's gone back to executive council on an interim basis where he has that same stature. I'm now privileged to get to work with David Dodd, who's come on the board, had a great first meeting, and we're pleased to have David join. I feel sure that David's going to follow that same mold of prominence within the board of directors, and we're thankful to have him. So let me just say to you, and we've heard some earlier speakers talk about this, if you're a member of North Carolina APCO, be engaged, stay engaged, grow, look at opportunities within APCO International. We have 36,000 members, and we're growing by leaps and bounds. But there's always places to serve and additional opportunities. Seek those out. I want to congratulate you again. You should be very proud, not only of 60 years, but as well as what you have accomplished during the course of those 60 years as a chapter. Your service to the public safety communications profession, the citizens of North Carolina, and APCO International is almost unmatched. I'm proud of your chapter. I consider you a model for other chapters around the country in how they should engage, represent, and serve. Again, thank you so much for inviting me to be with you today and speaking briefly, and best wishes for another 60 years. Thank you.
And again, thank you again, Derek. I know your schedule, like we've talked about, fills up quickly, so I appreciate you making the time to be with us today for this special occasion. One thing I skipped over earlier inadvertently, Herman did recognize our past chapter presidents. I just want to recognize any past chapter officers who are with us. If you will stand. I know there's a few, Byron, Sarah, and any other past officers. Stephanie and Crystal, you kind of were training. But just, yeah, that's how it works normally. So just thank you all for your service as well to APCO. All right, so everyone up here has said really all that needs to be said. I know there's lunch back there waiting, so everyone's ready for that. But just to echo a few remarks, we started with 27 members, and now 60 years later, we have over 1,500 members. We owe this success to the many who are with us today, but also the ones that have gone before us and were the driving force in getting the chapter off the ground. I mentioned it earlier, 14 years ago when Rob Robinson got me involved, I never imagined I would have the honor or the privilege to be standing here, especially as we celebrate this special occasion for the chapter. And your being here today just demonstrates your resilience in North Carolina APCO and the public safety communications industry. And we appreciate everyone for taking the time to be with us today. So this morning kicks off the beginning of celebrations of our 60th anniversary. We'll have some more things during our conference in May, and to just be looking forward to that. And I now know everyone's ready for lunch. I just wanted to make a final thank you, and that is to you, the membership, who have made this all possible. We can get a round of applause for the membership. And again, congratulations on 60 years, and here's to 60 years more, APCO or North Carolina APCO. So with that, I will now take a motion to adjourn this November 19th, 2021 chapter meeting of North Carolina APCO. A motion from David Dodd, second from Vic. All right, and I'll ask Vic Williams to come up and bless our meal before we begin.
It's been a great event, hasn't it? Great to be able to recognize 60 years of service here. It's just amazing. Good job, Grayson and the board. Y'all done a great job putting this presentation together. All right, let's pray. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this very fine group of individuals here that work every day diligently to provide a professional service, whether it's on the commercial side, whether it's on the APCO International side, whether it's on the PSAP side. They're all working to achieve one goal, and that's to provide a much needed service for the citizens of the state of North Carolina and the United States. We just ask you to be with them, guide them, protect them as they travel back home today through their daily work, and as things move forward as we come out of this pandemic, to keep everybody on the straight path to continue to improve and to get things back to a normal way of life. We just ask you this time to bless this food, to nourish our bodies. In your Son, Jesus Christ, and we pray. Amen.
And just a few quick logistics about the meal. Lori, help me. There's 4 different types of sandwiches.
Yes, and 3 different options for salads.
Okay, and they are all. Okay, and they are all at the back. Okay, perfect. And then on the other side, there's a special 60th anniversary cake for everyone.
Y'all enjoy your lunch. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Okay.
Oh, no.